Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Once again, I'm simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle. And I certainly hope you all have had a good day and a good week so far. But we got our big, beautiful bill passed. And I got a couple of posts on the screen that Mr. T has put up on his Truth Social. You may want to peruse. Very interesting. I've got more I'll show you. But I will show a quick video so while people get into the chats. And then we're going to be like butter and get on a roll.
Stronger and better than ever before. They're mostly gone. They're all coming back. This is why people in countries want to kill me. They're not happy with me. It's a risky business. This is why they want to kill me. They only kill consequential presidents, remember that. But this is why, if you're one of the countries that's affected, you're not happy with what I'm saying. When they used to say they like Barack Hussein Obama, of course they do, because he did nothing to help us. When they like Biden, who doesn't know he's alive, of course they like him, because he does nothing to bring your businesses back. He lets the world rob our country, the robber barons. He lets them rob and steal from our country, and most importantly, he lets them take our jobs.
Corralled into this box where we either have to hate Vladimir Putin and believe everything evil that's said about him and love Ukraine, and there's no in between. And that reminds me a lot of, you're either a white supremacist or you go with the Democrat narrative on everything under the sun.
The most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today, white supremacy.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
I mean, there's as much interference here as you could possibly imagine. Before you even get to Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, and all of their children who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies. These days, it's hard to believe anything because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial, and there's so much more going on in Ukraine that nobody is talking about.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to, and we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky. Slava Ukraina, who's a puppet who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants. Zelensky was selected, like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in.
How to build back better.
We have to build back better.
Build back better.
If Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, there are many of us that will move heaven and earth to ensure he doesn't win.
We are fighting the same battles all over the world. To pretend that this war is about Russia and Ukraine is a barefaced lie. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country. Billions of US dollars have been laundered through Ukraine, and we say nothing about it. Does nobody question these things? We have an idiot like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Mr. Vindman.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Do you always insist on civilians calling you by your rank?
And sits there as a lieutenant colonel. He didn't even make colonel. And he's telling the president of the United States what his policy should be. You have a traitor in the form of Maria Yovanovitch, who was Obama's ambassador, who's telling Ukrainian government officials, don't listen to the will of the American people.
In his July 25th phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, the president badmouthed Yovanovitch, calling her bad news.
I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
And then she's given a cushy job for life at Georgetown University, and we're told that the president of the United States cannot say to his foreign counterparts that we want you to look into something.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. And they put in place someone who was solid.
So much hypocrisy and dishonesty here, and Ukraine is at the center of it all.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
And they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around. Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
So, folks, how is everyone tonight? We had a big week as usual. Every week's been a big week, and a lot of people are waking up. See that red pill down there in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So, I'm trying to go back. Let me see if I can go all the way back. Wow. Usually I can't go this far back. Ha ha. Angel, how you doing? Canis, nice to see you. Todd, Sissy, Miss Mendersu. Nice to see you. Angel's here. Debbie's here. Sherry's here. Robin. Nice to see you all. Rebecca. Let's see. I said, yeah, I'll say Sissy again. Ha ha ha. It's okay. All right. Everybody's checking in. That's good to see. Kathy's here. William. Nice to see you, William. Wayne. Ha ha ha. Wayne said, give me a thumbs up. So you got to do what Wayne says now. Give me a thumbs up. Or 2 thumbs ups if you can. If you got more than one. Somebody told me they give me multiple thumbs up. Sparky, how you doing? KNS Cleanup, nice to see you. Oh, girl, we're staying at 0. I know they mess with me. You know they mess with me. Debbie's here. Darla's here. Elva. Pappy Two Bears. Thank you, Pappy Two Bears, for going by buy me a coffee, just like Miss Mendersu did the other day. Flannel Cheese, nice to see you. And also, Norm went by buy me a coffee. He has coffee in the mornings and listens to my broadcast. So, MS Motorsports, I hope you did good in your race. So, Sherry's here. Let's see. I hope you did good, MS Motorsports. We're pulling for you. You know that. So, what a meeting that was in the Oval Office. I tell you what, they better have their noses clean when they come to see Mr. T in the Oval Office. And, you know, because you don't know what's going to happen to you. And he got an education that day, didn't he? Here's what I put in my thumbnail. Why is that man not in jail? You all seen the footage of this guy. You know, a disgraceful, uncivilized offense to humanity. You know, to be up there with tens of thousands. Well, we're actually 70 to 100,000 people in a stadium. And the press really disgraced themselves today. Well, those crosses weren't That was misrepresented. I'll play the video of Carolyn Levitt. She handled that. I thought that was April Ryan, but it's not. It's another bonehead. And Trump also called an NBC reporter a jerk and an idiot. And boy, that was refreshing. I wish they plastered their face on the screen for history to see these jerks and idiots that get away with this kind of garbage. Here's one that's not going to get away with garbage very long. This one right here. I signed 3 FISA applications with information I knew was fake. Yeah, Comey. Ask not for whom the bell tolls, Comey. It comes for thee. Here we go. Cool seashell foundation on the beach. Gee, what does it mean? I think it's a political comment. One of the Krasenstein brothers, they were famous for somehow always being the first to be at the top of the list to smear Trump whenever he tweeted out. And he retweeted those numbers, which I won't repeat, and to try and make it seem like it's just political discussion. That's their game. It's only political discussion. Is that right? So, yeah, Comey, you better start sweating. Trump was overseas. And there he is putting out a signal like that. And, you know, they're making idiots out of themselves daily, on the daily, as they say overseas. And here's something somebody pulled up and posted. Nelson Mandela. This is Globe Eye News. I've never heard of them before. Nelson Mandela's grandson arrested on carjacking and firearms charges. Now, it ain't that something. January 15th of this year. If that was anyone conservative, a relative of anyone conservative, you'd never hear the end of it. It'd be all over the place. But like Trump said, these jerks and these idiots with the news, they just report what they want. They report what they want, and they make crap up. Like, who was it put up I think it was Posobiec. No, it might have been Diamond and Silk. Well, let me see. Here's a Posobiec article. Oh, this is about the shooting. Yeah, breaking D.C. Free Palestine shooting suspect charged with first degree. Red Rum praised Luigi Mangione and posted since the 70s they've been screaming this out from Iran since the fall of the Shah of Iran. Death to America. Was he here on a student visa? Was he going to Harvard or Columbia? Getting who knows how much damn flipping money from the taxpayer. Oh, but we've got to protect their rights. Their Second Amendment right or Fourth Amendment or 14th, whatever. Well, we had the big, beautiful bill passed. Before I forget about it, about 3 or 4 days ago, I mentioned about this House member resigning his committee because he had esophageal cancer. Jerry Connolly. And I said, I didn't want to wish that on anybody. He died yesterday. And I didn't look at the vote counts, but I was told that if he was around, it would have been a tie for the big, beautiful bill. And if there's no tie-breaking provision, like in the Senate. So the bill wouldn't have passed if he'd have been around. Now, isn't it something that just 3 days or 4 days prior to his passing, he steps down from the Appropriations Committee? I don't know when anybody's last laid eyes on him. Do you think that if they were to pass a bill allowing House members to vote by proxy, remember that? Anna Polina Luna? Yeah, she was talking mostly about people who had given birth or just had a baby. Was there any other provisions in there? Do you think they'd have told us about his passing? When did he pass? Was it yesterday or was it sooner? I don't know. I just know it was announced. Like with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You think they would stoop low enough to use a proxy vote when somebody's not even with us anymore? Yeah, I do. I think they would. Because we got a bunch of weirdos and freaks running the show. Savages. Political animals. You know, what is the difference between someone who's on ice and proxy pens versus what you see here? Ain't that something? Dr. Fauci pardon, General Milley pardon. Huh? All those pardons. So yeah, they're not to be trusted. They're a bunch of criminals, and they need to be put in jail where they belong. T-Cal, how you doing? Well, yeah, the thing about it is they're sitting there. Trump has to show him those pictures. Show him that guy giving the goo speech. And what do they do right after that? Well, the press jumps into the Air Force One plane. Like that's got anything to do with the price of tea in Mongolia, with what Trump's talking about with a world leader. But what is the African delegation? We need money. No, they said investment. We need your investment. They're learning around the world. Bureaucrats and commies are learning that they use the term investment instead of spending. Instead of taxing us, they're using the money to invest. So they want us to invest. They want our money. And this guy right here. Here he is. Why should we give them money? Well, he's talking about taking people's land and not giving them a damn bit of money, and he gets applause. Why? We don't need to do business with this kind of a degenerate political system.
This year, we will take decisive action to realize the enormous economic potential of agriculture. And as agriculture requires land, as agriculture needs land as a basic resource, we will accelerate our land distribution program not only to redress a grave historical injustice, but also to bring more producers into the agricultural sector and to make more land available to our people for cultivation. We will pursue a comprehensive approach that makes effective use of all mechanisms at our disposal, guided by the resolutions of the 54th National Conference of the Governing Party. This approach will include the expropriation of land without compensation.
Yay. Have a sip of water. That's the same guy sitting with Trump, claiming he doesn't know. Well, what are you talking about? He said, well, our Constitution, he tried to get his commie talking points in as delicate as he could. Our Constitution says South Africa is for all the people, and we have historical issues we have to deal with. Yeah, well, you're just a Marxist and a commie, and Trump is deciding whether or not he's going to go to that G20. Why should he? Why should he with this type of leadership? They tried a coordinated messaging when the reporter got up and first question after all the crosses are shown, weeping family members, the guy exhorting tens of thousands of people to go after white farmers. What about the plane you're getting from Qatar? And this character, President, says to Trump, I wish I had a plane to give you. And Trump short-circuited him. Well, if you did, I'd take it. Somebody give you something, you'd be appreciative of it. And but they were trying to set up a narrative. I could see it just plain as day. Trump doesn't treat people right who doesn't have planes to give him. Yeah, well, Trump laid the stuff out there plump and plain as to what kind of games they were playing, what they've done to people, and what they're continuing to do to people. Anyway, here he is right here. South African denounces white refugees for leaving before they had a chance to take all their stuff and KILL them. Yeah, I know it's satire, but he did say they were cowards. He did criticize them for leaving. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He's lucky he didn't get rougher treatment from Trump. With his own words. Should have been thrown right back up in his face. But, Trump took it to the point, took it to a point that was internationally digestible. And wokeness put this up. Before you ask, yes, we voted for this. Zelensky being treated like a little hood and a bum, which is what he is. And this character here, Trump handed him all those photographs. It would have been nice if he just said, what you have in your hands there is death. You got a handful of death. How many of you remember this? Back when apartheid fell and Nelson Mandela became president, there was a girl who went over to do aid work in South Africa. And she ended up being abused by a crowd in ways I won't describe. And she ended up with a tire around her neck. They set fire to it. And, of course, she perished. If you remember that, put a 1 in the chats. If you remember that story. She was a college student. Very little coverage. Very little coverage. So we have a diseased press. Speaking of a diseased press, here's that moron. Where is that moron? Let me find it. Talking to Caroline Levitt. Here you go. There she is sitting there. And she's trying to, where is that article from ABC? They started out by putting articles up. Trump was mean to the South African president. Here it is. ABC, always be commie news. President Trump confronted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa with images and video clips that he said would show an ongoing genocide, quote, genocide against white farmers. But some of the footage the president pointed to was not what Trump made it out to be. What the hell are you talking about? Some of the footage insinuating that Trump was being dishonest. Trump showed old videos, took crosses out of context in South Africa. This was yesterday. Well, colluding as they do with these press people, here is her trying to carry on that narrative that the crosses weren't really graves. They're not, there's no bodies underneath them. They're not graves. What an idiot. They represent the lives that were lost. But anyway, let me play Carolyn Levitt.
Crosses are representing their lives. Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead and their government did nothing about it. Are you disputing that there's no...
The fact that the video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the White House...
No, it did show that. It showed white crosses representing people who have perished because of racial persecution.
Verifies the videos that the president shows, and what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the world and world leaders to show?
What's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument, and the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder." So it is substantiated, not just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated. And that's a ridiculous line of questioning. John, go ahead.
A ridiculous line of questioning, and just ignore her. I tell you what, send that mess to South Africa. She'll be like that one that put the video out. I want to come back to America. You know, America is so awful, isn't it? That's why everybody's doing everything they can to get here. Here's a picture you all can put on your Meta. I had this in my studio last week, but I just did talkies. Boy, that's funny how his shoulder lined up with the other picture. That's pretty cool. But anyway, let's see. Miss Mindersu remembered. Sherry remembered. Debbie remembered. Yeah, that was, I'm going to go over and help. I'm going to teach people how to grow crops. I'm going to help them drill wells to have water and have a better life. Next thing you know, you're surrounded, brutally abused, and they have a tire thrown around your head with gasoline in it. Oh, they're going to investigate that AutoPen stuff. That's ongoing along with a great many other things. Here's how they coordinate again. You saw that coordination, okay, with ABC News teasing a bunch of TDS freaks to click on their site and read their article. Trump misrepresented out of context the video footage he showed to the African president. Click here and read all about it. Well, here's these idiots at, they run hot and cold. I think it's called Crux, something like that. Trump tells Walmart to eat the tariffs instead of raising prices, and they show him howling. Well, when Trump said that, he was not howling. You had the CEO of Walmart or some bigwig of Walmart say, well, the tariffs from China have affected us so badly, we've got to raise prices across the board to make up for it, so everything's going to cost you more. Well, wait a minute, you nitwit. Just because you're flub-dubs from China, you're cheap crap from China, you buy a pair of Hanes underwear, for example, you wear it, go through the wash 2 times, it comes out in ribbons, just inferior crap. How about you quit buying that? Okay? And how about, is that price fixing? I mean, how dare you? How dare you raise the prices on other manufacturers because you want to favor China? Well, Trump is exactly right. Eat the tariffs. Find another place to buy your products. Buy American. Walmart already destroyed Main Street. Remember Main Street? When you had a Western Auto? When you had a pharmacy on Main Street? Or 2? You had a movie theater? You had a dime store? Now I'm showing my age. A McCrory's? You had a place you could go in. They had a department store with a diner inside. You could sit inside the department store and get yourself a bacon, egg, and cheese, a cup of coffee. Remember those days? Remember Ace Hardware, Western Auto, Monkey Wards, things like that? Well, they're all destroyed thanks to Walmart. Mom and pop businesses. So what does the left come out with? Just because Trump said the obvious, don't spread it around to other retail items and manufacturers. You eat it and you buy smarter. Well, here's this stupid thing now, this impact. They're like Midas Touch, Midas Trash. They popped up out of the ground and now they get all kinds of views out of the blue. And these platforms that shadow ban some people and boost other people, that stuff needs to be investigated too. This obviously worked out super well for her. Talk about Marie Antoinette, CNN Business. Trump warns America's business, eat my tariffs or pay the price. Let them eat tariffs. Some stupid meme. They can't meme right. I mean, it's not funny looking. The point isn't funny. And you see the TDS crazy cat people. I've said I have a cat, but I'm not a crazy cat person. I have a crazy cat. Okay, so anyway, but you see how they coordinate. CNN, now this impact, that stupid Crux thing, but it's not taking off. It's not taking off. I put it up there to mock them. To mock them. I go to a place and I buy things, and it's not a Walmart, and I later on check and say, oh, gee, I got 20 items. I got 20 items, and my bill was $10 higher than if I'd have gone to Walmart. Big deal. Okay? Big deal. I'm supporting a smaller business. I'm keeping my money in America, not good for stuff that's spent weeks on a cargo container. Everything, like I said, from underwear to lumber, we're dependent on them. And screw them. No big deal to me. Here, I'll play this clip. I could have played a lot of clips, and you all seen most of them. This is where I like this clip because he calls that. I think in this clip he calls that reporter an idiot, and earlier called him a jerk.
We are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia. They're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. And they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know, the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
Yeah, he called him an idiot. But it's like he said, when the media starts talking about it, there'll be a cleansing action. But the media won't talk about it. And you heard that South African president start off with his commie talking point. The land in South Africa belongs to all South Africans. That's commie, man. And why would Trump want to deal with you? You're lucky you're in the office. And remember, Trump said, when I set somebody straight, I do it not just for the person I'm setting straight, but I do it for the people that are watching so they get the message. And the reason I'm bringing that up is Trump was sitting there deservedly calling that reporter, berating that reporter, and that let everybody know in that delegation, you stay in line or you'll be getting called an idiot in front of the world. And so the way it ended up, this press conference, the South African Trump was getting ready to wind it up. He's like, "Look, I did what I intended for this meeting to be was to expose you all for the barbaric positions you all take in your government." And he's getting ready to wrap it up, and this guy starts, we really want you to come to the G20, and I want you to come to South Africa so I can give you the leadership for the G20. We would like you to be the leader of the G20. And he threw that in, if you watch it, at the last minute. But he'd been trying to say it all the way through, but Trump wanted to get this point across, and he did. And Trump don't want thanks, but no thanks. Okay, he's already leading our nation. He's already leading peace talks in the Middle East. He's already leading an economic revival for this country. He's got enough to do. He doesn't need to have the responsibilities of that dopey G20 when they exclude Russia, which helped exacerbate the situation in Ukraine, helped lead to the war there, and dealing with these third world nations with savage mentalities. Why would I want to go to that party? So we'll see how it plays out, but South Africa is going to learn a hard lesson. It's like Trump was saying, their land, that farmland, is essentially worthless without people that know what they're doing and willing to do the work and do the right things and do things smartly. Without that land is worthless. So they're going to lose their best and brightest. They're going to lose their best and brightest. And they've had all these years, and I'm sure there are young people who can learn and want to learn. But in Marxist societies, people like that are dangerous. You keep them oppressed, okay? You keep the useful idiots around you. You keep corrupt people around you that you can bribe and bully to stay in power. And the people who are independent-minded, driven to succeed, want to be prosperous, they're a danger to Marxists. They're to be persecuted no matter their color of their skin. That's why they have a dearth of competent people in prominent places. I hope that makes sense. Here's something somebody put up last week. Who is Emilio? I wonder why liberal women are suddenly against immigration. Oh, wait. Yeah. What do you see with most liberal women? A bunch of metal in their face and sticking out of their nose and their tongues and tattoos on their eyeballs and 6-colored hair. Like I said, they think Twinkies are a vegetable, and the Yoo-hoos are energy drinks. Boy, here's one screwball I want to hear about. What's going to happen to her? It happened. This is one of these. I played a video of them all screaming and getting in front of ICE agents. Not the lady in red. This was another one. This is some little power crazy councilwoman. Here's her name. Ethel. Now you go ahead and pronounce it. I'm not gonna. Haxhiaj. District 5, somewhere, I forget, somewhere in Massachusetts or somewhere like that, was assaulting ICE agents and interfering with ICE agents. I think she's the next one. The next one. And they need to do it. They need to put these people in jail. Or at least publicly try them and shame them. But you know what? Down is up and up is down. Just like this character that shot that couple, praising Luigi Mangione. I said the day it happened, that the person who pulled that stunt, Luigi Mangione, needed to be processed and punished just as quickly or quicker than Timothy McVeigh, because we can't have people doing assassinations in the streets just because they think they're right. But that's the game now. That's the game now. That it's okay. You're a hero, as a matter of fact. I'm just looking at the chats here. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you use energy drink, Pappy. Yvonne, how you doing? Remember, Sparky's. Remember you watch UFH stations and the ladies would get up there and say, "Look for the union label when you are buying a coat, dress, or blouse." You remember that, folks? You always made sure you bought union garments. And what a memory lane, yeah. Ben Franklin's, yeah. Woolworths, Kmart. Ben Franklin's, Miss Minderson remembers. You could go in Ben Franklin, order craft supplies and fabric and all kinds of stuff. And if they didn't have it, they had a big catalog and little samples. You say, "Oh, I like that. Yeah, yeah." And Walmart's kind of just tried to roll all that stuff up together and under one roof. And you had a cafeteria in Kmart. Go in there and have your coffee and order a sandwich or whatever. It was, it was great. Community. You had a community that would gather there. Now Walmart's going there, it's a freak show. You don't know what the hell you're looking at. I'm trying to find, here it is. Posobiec puts us up. As leftist street assassinations now make their way to D.C., remember that CNN has promoted Luigi Mangione fandom. Caitlin Collins shared his crowdfund link. AOC and Liz Warren called it a warning to others. And Taylor Lorenz said the unaliving made her feel joy. I don't know. He must have been a little high or someone who wrote this, maybe a few too many beers, but I get the point, Jack. He's right. He is right. Well, the other thing that, here we go. This might be it right here. Yeah, Diamond Silk. DOJ investigation of Andrew Cuomo. We're going to go through stuff that is all pouring out and all happening at the same time. Plates spinning. And these Democrats, they've got to keep the plates spinning, and Trump keeps adding plates for them to keep on the end of a stick, running around, keeping them spinning. You got these judges that are in violation of the black letter of the law. You've got people who have publicly supported criminal terrorists coming back in. You got what they did with CVID coming out. And Andrew Cuomo could be criminally charged along with a lot of other people. On down the line, you'll see it as I go through some of these stories. There's just a lot of stuff that is, just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not getting investigated. According to reports, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is the subject of a criminal investigation by the Department of Justice for allegedly lying to Congress about his involvement in downplaying the nursing home deaths. Well, what does the New York Times do about that? New York Times today. Why does it matter whether COVID came out of a lab? Well, David Wallace Wells, look at him. Full of soy, a little weirdo. Why does it matter whether it came from a lab or not? Because if it came from a freaking lab, that means somebody was violating Geneva Conventions, violating U.S. law, and making viruses more harmful to human beings. Called gain of function, you dope. Oh, of course, though, they know that. They know that. They're trying to normalize criminal activity. It doesn't matter. Kind of like Kind of like when that Ruski got off in Durham's second trial that he lost ever in his career. The jury, some of who knew AOC and I had all these DC connections, the jury, yeah, he broke the law, but it's just not important. Why does it matter now, in this case, whether COVID came out of a lab? Because somebody put it in the lab, you idiot. That's the media trying to run cover. Like this here. This would be a good one to put on your meta page. Is the legacy media really going to act like we didn't see them lying about Biden's cognitive decline? Legacy media. Remember that? What was that movie? Men in Black. Yes, Miss Mendersu says hit the like button. I appreciate it. And I have a link in the description for anybody that helps want to help out the channel. I'm a one-man band. I'm not monetized on YouTube. I'm a viewer-supported channel. And I want to thank, again, Norm and Pappy Two Bears and Miss Mendersu for going by. We're starting a new week. I get, oh gosh, we're already at the, coming into, what's today, 21st? Phew. Anyway, I want to thank everybody that's helped out on Buy Me a Coffee. Link in the description. So, yeah, legacy media. Well, legacy media is getting a knot on their head. They're getting a knot on their head. CBS has had another person resign. They said it was a mass exodus because this $20 billion lawsuit that's been filed by Donald J. Trump is breathing down their necks. Here's Bernie Sanders. You know, I can see why people thought, hey, I like Bernie. When you don't realize what communism, Marxism, and socialism, they're all the same suit, different bow tie, same outhouse, same smell, different outhouse. Okay? Same smell, different outhouse. And you can see young people that going to college and getting this kind of crap pumped into their heads would go, great, Bernie's a great guy. No, he's nothing. He's no better than the commies over there that took over South Africa. He's no different. Bill Owens, the producer of CBS's 60 Minutes, resigned in protest. Now, Wendy McMahon, she's the one. She said she would resign if they settled. They said, oh, thank you for your resignation. It was kind of like, wait a minute, I was saying if you, they grabbed that as quick as they could, and she's out the door. Wendy McMahon, the head of CBS News, has now resigned. I say to Sherry Redstone, enough is enough. Do not capitulate to Trump's attack on a free press. Do not settle Trump's bogus lawsuit against 60 Minutes. They altered tapes. Okay? They interfered with the election. Okay? They didn't report the news factually. They altered interviews with Trump. They altered the replays of the disastrous debate with Biden even. They're manipulating. They're not an honest news organization. They're on a public airwave. So, screw you, Bernie. Okay? This guy ought to go to South Africa. I told you all the other night I was going to put this on the screen. Chicago mayor insists he has never discriminated against white boy honky crackers. Yeah. He'll fit in over there in South Africa, along with that reporter that was pestering Carolyn. Here's a picture for you. I didn't get his name, but this is not a spoof. This is Biden's physician. Biden's physician. I was going to save this for a meme. I was going to put above there Joe Biden saying, so you're saying this treatment worked for Frodo? I mean, this guy's a hobbit. This guy's like Samwise Gamgee. But anyway, there he is. Maybe that's why he's a proctologist. You just pretty much right there looking. He's like Robert Reich, I've said, like Goebbels in the Third Reich with Adolf. They called him the malignant dwarf. Robert Reich's the same way. George Stephanopoulos. Who was that guy in charge of CNN? Zucker. He resigned right after. They said he resigned because he had an affair with a staffer, but he actually resigned like a couple of weeks after 2 CNN producers got arrested for transporting a 9-year-old across state lines to abuse, okay? And Jeff Zucker's about probably even shorter than this thing here. So, I'm not saying, all 4'2" people are like that. But maybe if they're Democrat, like what's his name? George. I keep forgetting his name. I call him a hobbit. He's with the Lincoln Project Preverts. So anyway, yeah, that's Joe's physician, and nobody knew what was going on with Joe. At least it's not as bad as this. Andy, he puts up the weirdos, man. He keeps track of the weirdos so you don't have to. A man presenting as a woman was arrested in Polk County, Florida on May 4th for allegedly engaging in prostitution. He wore a wig and a chest prosthetic. What in the world? To conceal that he is Jason Bathus. You telling me he earned a living like that? Very bizarre, if you ask me. Here, Trump posted this. Is he just trying to get under people's skin? I don't know. I'll play it. It's got Flight of the Bumblebee, but I think that's not copyright. You can't. It's too old to have a copyright on. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, rub it in. We'll keep them worried. This is a video I was going to play on my intro. Donald J. Trump put this up. But I thought, well, not a lot of people will see it. I better wait till I get people in. Get people into the, where'd my chats go? Get people into the audience and play it. But what do you make of this stuff here? Who's that? That's John. John. Jr.
He was declared the front-runner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, and his rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator. Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness during the Clinton impeachment trials. She was brutally executed at a Starbucks she was managing in 1997. In 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Fort Marcy Park near D.C. He supposedly killed himself, and among a lengthy list of potential foul play, the bullet was never found. Then there's James McDougal, a key witness for White House prosecutors. He was serving his 3-year sentence for bank fraud at the Fort Worth Federal Medical Center in Texas. And just before he was to give a testimony before the grand jury, McDougal suffered a heart attack in solitary confinement. In 2015, Walter Scheib, a White House chef hired under Bill Clinton, joined the list. His body was found at the bottom of a river, nearly 2 miles from the base of the trail he was reportedly hiking. An autopsy determined that Scheib's death was accidental drowning, but he might have known too much. 27-year-old Democratic National Committee staffer Seth Rich was shot and killed in D.C. this year. There is speculation that he was the source of the controversial leaked emails allegedly sent by DNC staffers, and that he may have been murdered in retaliation. Then Sean Lucas, the lead attorney in a fraud case against the DNC, was found lying on the bathroom floor by his girlfriend when she returned home on August 2nd. His death was reported classified, pending the results of an...
Yeah, I might save that in my studio, use it as on the intro. I don't know, we'll see. We shall see. Already played that video. Here's one I can play for you. The dried up prune. Who's the dried up prune? Donald Trump posted this. Who is the dried up prune? I had a friend that used to say, you dried up old so-and-so. But anyway. Bruce Springsteen, the dried up prune. Remember when he did that with Hillary Clinton? And Facebook and Twitter and everybody took it down and said, it's violent. That's violence. I put up 2 memes at the beginning of the video you all ought to check out. But here's another meme that they're all by Donald Trump. Okay, right here. Donald Trump. There he is. Real Donald Trump. We are taking back our great country. Do you all like this meme? Have you seen this meme? Let me ask the chats. Have you ever seen this meme before? Have you ever seen this meme before? And what do you notice about it? Who made that meme? Special Sports Star or something like that. Bambi's never seen it. Wanda's seen it. Sissy said no. Debbie said yes. Kim said no. It's a beautiful meme. Yes, it is. What do you notice about it? Spiritual Street Fighter. Yeah, I'll put these up real quick. This is what I had at the beginning that Trump had put up. This one, Slayer of the Deep State. And this one, All Roads Lead to Obama. Spiritual Street Fighter, yeah. Ha, Todd, not much gets past Todd or Sissy. There we go, right there on his collar. Plus. Here, let me get a good close-up for y'all. You might want to just put that right there on your meta page. She's a lady artist. Yeah, I'm going to keep those in my studio. I like them. I like them a lot. Remember, what was his name? Jim Carrey, when he was in Dumb and Dumber. I like her a lot. Ha ha ha. Here's what Trump said about the D.C. killings. Like I said, that Luigi Mangio thing, they better stamp that out real quick. These horrible D.C. killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things can happen, as this can happen. God bless you all. Yeah, he needs to be tried and X3 acquitted. Here's the New York Post put this up. Let's see what this is. Oh, what do you know? The New York Post. Starting in February 2021, federal health agencies had been alerted to, quote, large reports of myocarditis. I get in trouble for saying that word too. In young people who received the Pfizer VAX, but waited until late June that year to adjust the labels to make that side effect known. Even though CDC and FDA officials were well aware of the risk, the Biden administration opted to withhold using a formal warning to the public for months about the safety concerns jeopardizing the health of young Americans. There are a lot of people who are pro this and pro that. You know, somebody put up a post about a person named Jeffrey E. Let me see if I get this in the right order. I think it's the last part of it. Let me see here. How did this play out? Brian Gramble talking about Jeffrey E. Talking to Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I trust your judgment completely. Under normal circumstances, I'd accept that your access to privileged information led you to conclude that Jeffrey E. died by you-know-what aside. But there's one mental hurdle I can't clear. And until I do, this analysis or whatever can't close the case. Forget the 2 cameras outside Epstein's cell at MCC conveniently malfunctioned. Forget that the 3rd camera's footage was later deemed corrupted and unrecoverable. Forget that the video from Epstein's first alleged suicide was accidentally deleted. Let's set all that aside for the moment and just look at the autopsy. Now, I think this is part of it. So here's the question. Oh, no, that's out of order. Wait a minute. Let me get this one. Let me get this one here. Now, Dr. Biden, this is like a 3-4 page that's General Flynn's response. Wait a second, it's all out of order. How does that happen? All right, I guess I got to go with this one. Now, Dr. Michael Baden isn't just any forensic pathologist. He's performed over 20,000 autopsies, testified in the nation's most high-profile cases, and was trusted to review the deaths of JFK, MLK, and Michael Brown. His expertise is unmatched, a living archive of forensic science with decades of frontline experience. Now compare that to Barbara Sampson, Dr. Barbara Sampson, New York City's medical chief examiner at the time. Yes, she's credentialed, but her role primarily administrative, shaped by the political machinery of New York City. Her ruling on Epstein, it was you-know-what-aside, case closed. Dr. Baden, however, raised the alarm. His broken neck bones, he argued, were far more consistent with homicidal strangulation than you-know-what-aside by hanging. And Baden is no conspiracy theorist. He relies on hard evidence, not sensationalism. So here's the question. If Einstein told you the math didn't add up, would you dismiss him because a second-year physics student disagreed? To restore trust in the FBI, I think the public should have access to all the information surrounding the death of Jeffrey E. to hopefully allow us to reach the same conclusion that you did. Respect. And he shows a photograph of the back of the neck. Injury on the back of the neck. And ligature marks. So, Michael Flynn responded to this. General Michael Flynn. And says, respect. This is what I was saying the last two broadcasts. And this is the reason I'm putting this up. Not about Epstein's dying. It's about those he used to abuse children. General Flynn just put this up. And I said my last two broadcasts, I could care less what happened to him. He's getting his. I have no doubt about that. And it's not about him anymore. It's about the ongoing abuses. Ongoing abuses. So have you heard that Obama was mentioned in the Diddy trial? Beyond these reports even, I think there was a new bit of information that came out. Sean Diddy Combs took drugs every day, including Obama-shaped ecstasy pills, Exorcism says. There they are. Obama. Did you ever pick up drugs for Mr. Combs? Yeah. Percocets at a pharmacy, sometimes in my name. Did you give him permission to use your name? I don't recall that. Where was there a drug dealer? Yes, one stop. He met with a lot of people? Yes, even former presidents. Which one? Former President Obama. Was that your understanding? Would have happened if you hadn't done these things? Objection! Sustained. So anyway, rumor has it that Obama was participating in these weirdo situations. Ain't that something? James Wood put this up. The true enemy of America is the Republican Party, surprisingly. The Democrats will always complain, grift, cheat, and gleefully ignore the law. Who will stop them? In a real two-party system, it would be the Republicans. But they are weak, milquetoast losers who don't do nothing but talk. Yeah. Worthless. We got to get people with some guts in there. You know, this business, I see people say, why is everybody mad at Massey? He's just trying to keep us from spending a lot of money. Massey's a grandstander. He's not offering any solutions. He's just taking these noble talking points, trying to screw up the big, beautiful bill and get attention for himself. Well, he's going to get the wrong kind of attention because Trump's putting a bad finger on him. Here is the state of affairs with these liberals. We had the two people lost their lives in D.C. We had Luigi Angione being a hero, getting cards and letters and cupcakes from all around the country. Food zombie, another liberal weirdo. When you put up stuff like this, you are always have a plan B. Plan B if the protest doesn't work. Trump's egg price fiction has suddenly become reality. CNN. They were saying, well, his fiction was that the prices are down. That's not true. But now it's become reality. Egg prices are finally falling. Good news, prices are falling, but it might be for bad reasons. Egg prices are falling, but there's a catch. What are they talking about? They put this stuff in people's heads, like with the crosses. There weren't real bodies under those crosses. They weren't really graves. Egg prices are falling, but it's not a good thing. It's because Trump lied so much, he made it true. You know, it's twisted thinking. And so many people just prattle the twisted thinking. Speaking of twisted thinking, ABC News. We know you're going to get some twisted thinking there. When 3 service members sued the Trump administration, over what? Over what? Transgender service members say they face heartbreaking decision amid Trump ban. Leave military or get kicked out. Well, your heartbreaking decision was when you decided to defy nature and mutilate your body and expect everybody else to respect you. That's when you made the bad decision. Which leads me to this. What are you going to make of this? This picture reminds me of John Paul II. I remember when he became Pope, people were going wild. I mean, young people were electrified. The church was rejuvenated. It was the beginning of the Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, John Paul II Iron Triumvirate that freed Eastern Europe from communism, had to follow the Berlin Wall, a spiritual awakening, an economic revolution in America. And this young priest was, waving and jumping up and down. And a reporter said, why do you like him so much from the different why is he so different from the other pope? And he said, well, this one, he really knows how to pope. He knows how to pope. So we're all figuring out what's going on, right? People can say what they want. People can sneer. People can disregard him. But he's the spiritual leader of 1.3 billion people. We know what we had in there before. What are we seeing so far? Alphabet Plus community in meltdown after Leo XIV said what? That's Sky News Australia. Pope Leo XIV declares family is based on union of man and a woman, upholds dignity of unborn and elderly. Much different from what we have been dealing with. Gay marriage, no. Same-sex marriage, no. Transgenderism, no. Abortion, no. Euthanasia, no. Here's a typical liberal here. Joan of Arc. I do think it's fairly tragic that the new pope has regressive views on gender and S3 But I think all people standing the cardinals forgot that the Catholic Church is an inherently evil institution. Pope Francis was sort of a fluke, and even he was far from perfect. What is she saying? Pope Francis, with this transgender acknowledgement, you know what kind of satanic BS Archbishop Vigano called out. She's saying he was a fluke, and even he was far from perfect, and that this Pope is regressive. So, yeah, he is making waves, making the lefty loons uncomfortable, and I think that's great. Pope Leo affirms family is based on union between man and woman, unborn as an inherent dignity. So, to all the Planned Parenthood losers, you don't have a shoulder to cry on in the Vatican anymore. Here's Elon Musk. Speaking of Satanism, he's calling out Bill Gates.
I do want to ask you about US aid and the comments that Bill Gates made the other day, which and I know that you called him...
Yeah, he's a huge liar.
I know, you've said that already.
That's
wondered...
also,
and I'm just...
Who does Bill Gates think he is to make comments about the welfare of children, given that he frequented Jeffrey Epstein?
Okay, well, he said he regrets those, and he spent a lot of his own money on philanthropy around the world over the years. My question to you is: have you looked at the data to check if he might be right that the cuts to USAID might cost millions of lives?
Yes. I'd like him to show us any evidence whatsoever that.
He cut off before he finished. He's saying, yeah, I'd like to see proof of that. She steers straight away from Bill Gates and Epstein and goes right to, USAID is going to cost, the cuts to USAID is going to cost all these lives. It's a money laundering platform, period, here. I like this little video here. Cutting USAID, they scream bloody murder because the money is all going to them.
The U.S. government runs a $2 trillion deficit every year. We're in debt almost $40 trillion. And we also knew that anytime anyone tries to cut anything in Washington, the whole city screams bloody murder. Okay, so the question is just why? Well, now we know. The money is all going to them. It's like round tripping to them. New York Times, getting paid. Politico, getting paid. Bill Kristol, perennial warmonger, getting paid. Ukraine, getting paid. Like 11 out of 12 publications, Ukraine, getting paid.
Incredible.
Viktor Orban, who's the prime minister of Hungary, was saying that he's very popular in Hungary. His political opposition, funded by USAID. In Poland, the left-wing political opposition funded by USAID, and on and on and on it goes.
BBC, you wonder why everyone in the UK, so yeah.
Like
I couldn't believe the BBC's getting paid.
Every left-wing organization in the world seems to be getting paid by this slush fund at USAID, which disperses about $50 billion a year. That's $1 billion a week. That's actually a lot of money. And so it makes you wonder, the left in general tries to portray itself as a movement of the people, that it's grassroots. This is the exact opposite. This is AstroTurf. This is basically money coming from the top down out of Washington to fund all of these groups, maybe not even in the United States, like all over the world. So it makes you wonder, what is the real level of local support for these left-wing policies all over the world?
Yeah, what's the local support for all the lefties? It's nothing. And that's going to be proven in these upcoming elections. Here's Kash Patel talking about, I think this is the one where he's talking about, I wonder if this uploaded good. Let me see. Wonder if he's talking about, that the J. Edgar Hoover building is not safe for employees.
I didn't know that I was going to do this, but I'm going to announce it on your show anyway. This FBI is leaving the Hoover building because this building is unsafe for our workforce, and we want the workforce.
You just gave up a big nugget.
We want the American men and women to know, if you're going to come work at the premier law enforcement agency in the world, we're going to give you a building that's commensurate with that, and that's not this place.
Boy, that's something you don't say lightly. Here's John Brennan getting all upset because Tulsi Gabbard is cleaning house of all these corrupt intel people. He talks about somebody who's been with the CIA for decades and decades, and that they're a wonderful person. Oh, really? Is that why Benghazi happened? Is that why they lied to us about starting the war in Iraq with yellow cake and weapons of mass destruction? Is that why they lied about Russia with Trump? Is that why the Steele dossier got signed when everybody knew it was a phony bunch of garbage? Yeah, she's doing the right thing, but John Brennan don't like it. And don't forget, John Brennan, we got your emails. Before Trump took office, you said you wanted to have him be so stressed out he would stroke out.
This whole thing just makes me livid. It's appalling and outrageous and demonstrates why Tulsi Gabbard never should have been confirmed as Director of National Intelligence. Michael Collins and Marie Langen-Rykoff are two of the most experienced, accomplished, and talented analysts in the entire U.S. intelligence community. With over 60 years of combined experience, they have worked for successive administrations since the 1990s. They have demonstrated time and time again their capabilities, their competence, their integrity, and they have served as role models for a generation of intelligence officers inside of CIA. They're CIA officers by background and by training. And this is going to have real reverberations within the workforce because, as Congressman Hines pointed out, it's clearly a signal to tell analysts throughout the intelligence community, you tell the truth, you provide objective analysis as you're supposed to be doing, you are running the risk of getting fired. And Michael and Maria are really the quintessential analysts that you want to have providing insight and information and analysis to policymakers so they make the right decisions for U.S. policymakers. But this is a very tangible example of such dangerous and insidious corruption within the Trump administration.
He's panicking because the people that are getting canned are probably going to talk. Because they're all being investigated. Anybody who thinks they're not isn't paying attention. What's this? General Flynn again. So true. It's pure evil. Jill Biden is as much to blame as every other person in Biden's inner circle. And guess what? You can include in that the CIA that John Brennan is screaming and hollering about. This was never about Biden being sick. It was about everyone around him pretending he was fine while the country held its breath. At some point, protecting his image and their power became more important than protecting the nation. That is evil. So things are what's going around is going to come around. I got some long truths from Mr. T. I might read them tomorrow. What is this video? I don't recall the context of it. Oh, ha, ha, ha. I'll save that for later. Let's see, I've gone an hour and a half. My word. Just real quick, overseas. This man is not taking a nap under a tree. This is in Spain. Former advisor to Ukrainian President Yanukovych Andrei Portnov shot DEAD in Madrid. Portnov received 4 pew-pew wounds to the chest and 1 to the gourd. The incident occurred near the entrance to the school. The criminal fled the scene and is being sought. A former advisor to Zelensky in Madrid, Spain. People are settling scores. So, this is the one that Trump is very upset about today, and I can't blame him. Nobody can blame him. This dopey judge, liberal judge, graduate of Columbia University. I'll show you his picture in a minute. A federal judge in Boston. Remember, Boston has that hospital that they conduct those surgeries on young people. Boston also has the choir, the Boston gay men's choir, that sings "These Are Not Your Children," who knew absolutely nothing about the situation or anything else, has ordered that 8 of the most violent criminals on earth curtail their journey to South Sudan and instead remain in Djibouti. He would not allow these monsters to proceed to their final destination. You know, by all rights, that plane is in international airspace. This is foreign policy. The Constitution very clear that it is the sole purview, plenary power of the president, and courts cannot say a damn thing about it. Trump would have had every right, but they're trying to goad him into so-called disobeying the courts. This is not the premise under which I was elected president, which was to protect our nation. These judges are absolutely out of control. They're hurting our country, and they know nothing about particular situations or what they are doing. And this must change immediately. Hopefully, the Supreme Court of the United States will put an end to the quagmire that has been caused by the radical left. If this is not worked out quickly, and the world is watching, our country will be under siege again, with hundreds of thousands of hardened criminals breaking down the walls. We were also forced to leave behind, in order to watch these hardened thugs, a large number of ICE officers who would otherwise be in the United States protecting our citizens. So this judge, he's a Biden appointee. Here he is. Boy, I could have drew that picture myself. Murphy. Look at that little worm. Oh. Look at that tie. Color revolution. Can anybody say color revolution? Commie. Color, purple color revolution. United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts. Assumed office December 6th. Oh, really? After Trump won the election, appointed by Joe Biden. Really? Or was it the auto pen? Was it the auto pen? Brian Edward Murphy. He was born in Columbia, Maryland, but he also went to school at Columbia University, where they crank out commies left and right. Here are the thugamugs that he is causing tumult and upheaval for the American people and for the administration, damaging international relations, interfering with foreign policy, and the safety of ICE agents. Enrique Arias Hero, convicted of homicide and armed robbery, convicted of false impersonation of official, kidnapping, and strong-arm robbery. Down the line it goes. Attempted first-degree murder with a weapon, battery and larceny, cocaine possession and cocaine trafficking, first-degree murder and robbery, ended the life of a German tourist visiting family in Los Angeles, California. Convicted of second-degree murder. All right, these people are already ordered out of the country. Previously, where'd he go? Oh, well, the other one's got the same kind of rap sheet. Same kind of rap sheet. He disappeared out of my studio. Really violent, nasty people. So it's got to be presented to the Supreme Court. And let me tell you something. If the Supreme Court can sit there at the middle of the night on an Easter weekend because some ACLU lawyer is phoning, Trump ought to be able to get just as quick a service. We'll talk about Judge Ho, who called out. He's a 5th District judge that called out the Supreme Court for their behavior and their actions. And he said, courts are not like a Denny's where you can go in all night and order whatever you want. But anyway, folks, here's a quick little video to close out the broadcast. If you're not subscribed, why not? Go ahead and hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you know when I go live. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it. And thank you all for your support on Buy Me a Coffee. Enjoy this little video. I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. You all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Bye-bye. 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 Okay? Bye-bye. 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 Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. 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 Bye. Bing. Bing. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That's it. Bye-bye. Wave goodbye.